All right, the drill I'm going to show today can be used as a specific strengthening tactic, or it can be used as kind of a structural testing / integration drill. All this is a band in one of my squat racks, and you want to use a band. I only use one company ever for band stuff. I use this for powerlifters, for my karate students, and everything else as well as MMA fighters. So the brand is just Elite FTS. You can go to elitefts.com and get these style of bands, and they're color coded stuff. Anybody has questions they can ask. But something that's has been talked about before in the groups is, you know, the structure and the positioning of the body structure within various positions, specifically like Sanchin. Sanchin is integral and vital for the development of our structure and our principles in the things that we do within our martial arts. So something that I kind of came up with is a way to make sure you're leading with the elbow when you're getting into those positions. Okay, so number one, you should have a protraction of the shoulder. Protraction of the shoulder means it comes forward, not back. That's retraction. Not up. That's elevation. You want to kind of have it depressed down, and you want to have protraction when you're in these kind of positions, these structural positions. So, for the sake of this video and any videos I do, I just call this Sanchin position because it's one of the base level positions in Goju-Ryu that I've done my whole life and things like that. So I call it Sanchin position of the arm. So what I do is I grab the band. It doesn't necessarily have to be center. It can be to get a little bit different response or effect. But I grab a hold of the band, basically right where my hand would come out to do my punch, you know, in that straight line. I grab it. I go ahead and protract from the shoulder, so it pushes this way, not this, but I push straight out. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold on to the band just tight enough so that I can twist it. I'm going to lead with my elbow whenever I do this. So I'm going to let my elbow come down as I let this twist up and get into position, and I set into my position. Now you can go ahead and bend that back like we should for that structural position for the hand or not. But this is really working on that radial deviation as well, because radial deviation is rotating the thumb out. And we should constantly have that rotation happening all the way through the structure of the arm. That's what engages the structure of the back, the scapula, the lats, and so on. So I push, rotate, leading with the elbow. So if I lead with the wrist moves first and then the elbow goes in, and I can't even get in as much, and it starts cramping if I lead with my wrist. So I don't lead with the wrist. Now that is a good wrist strengthening exercise. So you can just grab the band and do nothing but twist and practice supination. Remember, palm down is pronation, palm up is supination, like soup bowl. So here, you can do that just for strength. You can even grab all the way up underneath and do that for strength as well. It's just harder to keep the band in line whenever you do that. So protract, lead with the elbow, and you're going to get that position of the elbow being in as far as you can get. Now, me being a bigger guy, I'm 6'3", 316. It's a thing where my structure has to be right in order to get into these positions. Because if I do this, it's nothing. There's no structure there. If I allow my shoulders to protract as they should, I can actually get into those positions and maintain that radial deviation that creates that torsion all the way through the arm. Because there are no static positions. Static does not exist. Just because we stand still, that's not a position of solidity, and it's not a position of being static. There's a lot of, we've talked about a lot of, you know, you need to be rooted to the ground and so on and so forth. That's only for part of the time. You do not constantly need to be rooted to the ground in everything that you do. Fluidity requires us to be able to move at will or be rooted at will. And it's a transitory thing. Everything we do in martial arts is nothing but transitory. It is just a moment in time and passing to the next. So anything we do statically for training and things like that, even this position, that's not static. Just because I'm standing here, that's not static. There's constant tension. This is so much better than taking the old, you know, I don't know the proper terms for the Hojo Undo, you know, kind of like dumbbells or square kind of brick kettlebell looking things. I don't know the names of them. I've used them before a lot. I've used dumbbells, I've used what's called fat bells, I've used hammers, mini sledgehammers, I've used all kinds of things. Nothing compares to using the increasing tension of a band. Nothing. And I've been training athletes and professional athletes and things like that for, you know, 11 years straight, pretty much, you know, 10 to 16 hours a day. So it's something that doesn't compare at all, and this is much cheaper and easier to do, and you can actually check your structure a little bit better. The reason I do not like having dumbbells in your hand and doing these kind of things is it's great for some strength endurance in the shoulder and things like that, but with the weight being here and the way gravity works straight down, it is not something that I want to be doing a lot of. Number one, we kind of create some overuse injuries and stuff over the years from doing these things like punching and so on, whether we want to or not. Eventually some things catch up with us. That is horrible on the rotator cuff. It is something that is not, I don't care what your structure is, it is horrible to have a weight out here for very long. So if you're doing an entire kata, you know, and leaving these dumbbells out here for a long period of time, there's a good, better, and best way to do something. That's a good way. It's by no means the best way. And you can get away with doing something for so long until you can't. You can do it until you can't. So these kind of things is going to be much better than those methods, just because we know more now than we did then. I'm not saying I know more than everyone else, because I got these ideas from some of the best coaches in the world that do various things with bands. I just came up with this drill to test my own structure and things, and it's worked well for any student that I've had, regardless of level, and it's fantastic. So if it has value for you, that's fantastic, and I hope it does. So one more time, protract. Here, lead with the elbow, get your position. And you can do this for time, so you can sit there and hold it. Here's the thing, I can hold this for a very, very long time if my structure is correct. If I pull my shoulder back and I try to hold it, I start feeling too much cramping in the back and too much musculature. Whenever I do it correctly and I lead with the elbow, I can chill here for quite a while. I bet you I could last here maybe a minute and a half without having any issues. And that's just because it's going to be the tendon and ligaments that start, you know, causing the issue, not pain-wise, just in fatigue-wise. So doing these for reps or even for testing your structure are fantastic. And I've got a lot of other drills that I'm going to show for like bands and some other things that I use for myself and others too. So I hope you enjoy that one as a start.